Ugh. Hello and welcome back to Tutor on a Bike. So I'm taking you back from Moffat back home. I have just completed a filming of the A708 Selkirk to Moffat Road. Unfortunately I didn't get it all, which you'll see in the video and the reasons why. So today what I want to talk about is my bike. GSs get tremendously bad press, and it seems to be that I have to perpetually justify my purchase of this bike. I certainly got quite a lot of initially negative comments from my friends when I bought one, because they saw that it was, or the way they saw it was I was selling out. So they've all, every single one of them has changed their mind after riding it. Poor old Rosinante, she's been ridden by everybody. But they've all changed their mind and realised it is actually a cracking bike. Now, in my opinion, so I'm just going to put this out there as my opinion, is that I think this particular model is the one that hits the sweet spot. Oh, get away before that lorry. Under the motorway. There we are. Right. Tilt this one down a wee bit. There we are. Okay, so yeah, so I think this one hits the sweet spot, and I'll give you my reasons for saying that. First of all, it was the first of the liquid cooled GSs. So the old oil and air cooled ones were replaced by this, and I think that was a step forward. So I'll just get past these. There we are. Bring the speed back down because no doubt the wind noise will be quite bad. So yeah, so this was the first of the liquid cooled GSs. The 1200 engine up from the 1150 that came previously, and what I like about it, there's so many things I like about it, and there's so many reasons why I don't want to change it. So first of all, it has a more analog setup. So, and I don't mean that it doesn't have electronics, it most certainly does, but it has electronics in the useful places, I would suggest. So the clocks are the only analog bit that I think lets it down. Everybody knows that the speedo is too small, they don't look at the rev counter, and the LCD display does give you actually quite a lot of useful information. So what most people do is, what I have done, and use the navigator essentially as a heads-up display. So you can see there I've got auto trip, how far I've been today, the speed, the fuel range. You can actually increase the amount of information that you want, but my old eyes, that's too small for me to read. But it gives you things like engine temperature and that kind of thing. So yeah, that's all good stuff. I've nothing against the TFT screen on the new bikes. I think BMW really have cracked it with the TFT screen. The N900 RX, something like that. The one that I had as a courtesy bike had a TFT screen, and I really liked it. And that bike, one of the complaints people have had about the TFT screen in the more modern GSs is that you've got to scroll through the menus to try and find even something like turning on your heated grips. But I noticed that N900 did have a button like this one does, so you can find it straight away. Other things I like about it, it's before they moved on to the shift cam, so setting the valve clearances is a lot easier. And in fact on this bike, so I've had the valve clearances checked 3 times now. We're at 30, just coming on 37,000 miles, and there's been no work needed done. The valves have been checked, the clearances have been fine, and it's been put back together again. No adjustment needed. Got a sheep trailer I think up ahead. The gearbox, everybody moans about in this bike. It is what it is. It's agricultural, you can't do fast slick changes, but it's not that kind of bike. It's not a sports bike. You don't want to be banging up through the box and back down the box, and because there's so much torque with a big twin cylinder engine, you don't actually need to change gear that much. I still find myself changing gear more often than I really need to. But that's just a throwback from previous bikes that I've had, where you had to make them work. It's comfortable. It's an all day long tourer. People criticise you for not using it to go off road, but I don't have any particular off road skills, and I've no desire to go off road. It has been suggested to me that perhaps the RT would have been a better choice for me, but I have ridden RTs in the past, and the suspension is much harder, and I just don't find them quite so comfortable as this one. So yeah, more analog. Doesn't have the stupid, ridiculous push button start. Do not understand why you would put that on a bike. Still, no one will be able to convince me why that's a good idea. And not only that, you've then had to add an extra layer of complexity by adding an electric motor to activate the steering lock, rather than the mechanical turn the key and it does it. And I have heard that these can go wrong, so I'm quite glad I don't have it. So all in all, this is the one that suits me. I'm not a poser. I don't buy the £1,000 plus BMW riding gear. I simply can't afford it, to be quite honest with you. But what I've got is perfectly adequate, meets the legal requirements, and most importantly is comfortable. I'm going to put my visor up, I'm steaming up. Oh, there's flies. Put my visor back down. So yeah, it's it's a bike for using. It's a bike that I find is very usable every day, and I don't find the need to have a second bike, and again that cost comes into that as well. Unbelievably easy to ride. One of the easiest bikes I've ever ridden, this thing. The weight's all low down, it's chuckable where you want to chuck it, it's comfortable in a straight line if you want to just enjoy the motorway. Very few people enjoy motorways, I think. It's a means to an end. This thing does have cruise control. I don't even know if it works because I have never turned it on, because I don't use motorways very often, so I don't know whether it works. It's certainly never been turned on in the time that I've had the bike. But it's and people also say about the weight, it's 240 something kilos, and at one stage when I retired I thought, I'm old now. I was feeling it, and went and had a look at the Super Meteor. I thought I'll come down size and I'll just be an old man bike, as my son would put it. And it was alright, it was fine. It just, I wasn't quite ready for it, I don't think. But weight-wise, it's only a few kilograms short of this thing, which is quite surprising considering it's almost half the engine capacity. So yeah, this will do for me. Fast enough, comfortable, reliable, and easy to ride. But that having been said, I have been looking at changing it, and what I want to do, I'm not looking to upgrade as such in terms of model number, so I'm not looking at a 1250 or certainly not a 1300, I can't afford that. But back down, it's getting a little bit too fast there. Yeah, so I'm thinking of getting a newer 1200. There are quite a lot of them about. I'm not going to deny that there are people that buy it as a fashion accessory more than as a motorcycle, so there's quite a lot of examples with very, very, very little mileage on them, and I'm actually considering that. Go for a couple of years newer, so perhaps a 2016. Whenever the last of the models were out that didn't have the push button start, that's the ones that I'm looking at. A push button start is actually a deal breaker for me. I know it perhaps seems a stupid thing, but we all have our little foibles, and that's one of mine. So watch your space and see what happens. I'm not in a hurry. Absolutely nothing wrong with Rosinante, but she is getting older and miles are creeping up, so it might be time to try and look for something that's a little more youthful. I think there's a very good reason why people who run YouTube channels, so I'm thinking more really good TV, Dave there, or what's his name? I was going to say the Bingley Wheeler, but it's not him. It's I'll put him up on the screen. I can't for the life of me remember the name of his channel, and I'll link it down below. But both of these guys run this model of GS because it is just a perfect all-rounder. There's the flipping rain on again. The Missenden Flyer, that's who I was thinking about. So he's got an older GS. Really good TV, has an old GS. And both of these guys have said they're not going to change it. So there we go. I'm not justifying the choice of bike, but I'm just giving you my reasons for choosing her. And it'll be a sad day when she goes, I'll tell you. Very sad day. We've had some adventures. And we'll try and beat the rain home, I think. Don't think it's going to happen. So I'm going to put you off there because you're just going to get looking at raindrops. So thank you very much for watching or listening. Just a little short video there just to explain my reasonings. Ride safe, and I'll catch you in the next one.